Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock. We are delighted to see you here this morning. I am the Reverend Ned Wight, the interim senior minister here at the congregation, serving with the Reverend Jennifer Brower, the Reverend Natalie Fenimore, and Nancy Reed McKee, who is our ministerial intern who is assisting me with today's service. We invite you to join us for UU Cafe today, immediately following the service. If you are a first-time visitor, please stop by the welcome desk in the lobby and pick up a card for a free lunch to UU Cafe. It would be great. During the cafe today, there will be a committee fair in the social hall with tables arrayed around the room and an opportunity for you to see what all the activities are that are happening here at the congregation and how you might become involved. So please visit those tables and visit and speak with those committee members. On Monday, our Minister for Lifespan Religious Education, Natalie Fenimore, will be offering learning about Black Unitarian Universalist history, shedding light on the role of race, racism, and privilege in our world and the denomination. And that's going to be an excellent program. I commend it to you this tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the Art Gallery. Articulating Your Faith, a 4-session course that enables participants to learn how to talk about their faith with others, begins Monday, March 12th at 7 o'clock if there is adequate registration by the end of today. Nancy Reed McKee will be offering that. So if you are interested, please register by today. And how can they register? So yes, leave a note, speak to Nancy or leave a note on Carson Jones's desk. That would be great. On Sunday, we begin the distribution, the Social Justice Committee begins distribution of these grocery bags, one of which I have picked up. These will be available each week for the next 3 weeks, and then on March 25th, we'll gather all of these groceries in for United Veterans Beacon House. So please pick up a bag today. It would be terrific. Next Sunday, the service will be calling the superheroes. That's SW capitalized, PERHEROES, led by members of the women's group. So I don't know if we're supposed to wear superhuman kind of costumes or something, but they'd probably be welcome. Whatever. Superheroes next week. Finally, we're pleased to have the UUCSR Intergenerational Jazz Ensemble with us again today with the inestimable Don Platt as director. And a special treat later today, a song that Bruce Torf has written in honor of his daughter. So we look forward to that. And we invite you now, as is our custom, to greet your neighbor. I will. Well, absolutely.
Our opening words today are from Spiritual Literacy. Hope must be distinguished from its dangerous sister, expectation, which steals us from the present and pushes us down the path of disappointment when things don't go our way. Hope, in contrast, is patient. It is willing to stay with us in the here and now, and it assures us the future is open. Protestant minister William Sloane Coffin states, "Hope arouses as nothing else can arouse, the passion for the possible." Our chalice lighting words today are written by Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. In the spirit of Emily Dickinson's hope, we light our chalice this morning. Please rise in body or in spirit as we sing together hymn number 346 from the hymnal, "Come Sing a Song with Me," hymn 346. Please remain standing, and together we will recite our words of affirmation that are printed in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To seek peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need. This do we affirm and covenant with each other.
always left the light on. Towel on the bedroom floor. All these years I turns out the light, pick that towel up, and now the day has come. My baby's up and gone. Got a life before her, bright as the sun. I'll be cheering on, but I can barely stand it today. The house is much too quiet, and memories when she was 3 coming from everywhere. You can't go back to the past. What's done is done and gone. But when I hear her voice inside my head, I turn the light on. I flew into her room and cranked all the lights, threw her towel on the floor. I fell on my knees to pray for just a little more. You can't live in a memory, sweet as it may be. But when I see her smiling inside my head, there's no denying the feeling I get when I hear her singing her lovely song. I turn the light on. I leave the light on. I keep the light on. Thank you, Bruce. And Ken.
We are blessed with the talents of Bruce Torf and all of our performers. Thank you so much. Freely have we been given, let us also freely give. The offering for the work of our congregation will be gratefully received, and the ushers will please come forward. While the musicians are assembling, there's a misprint in the order of service. It is not Don Platt, it is Dan Pratt. So I know that the group was anxious because they thought they were going to have a different conductor. So we wanted to reassure that. Thank you, Dan.
Please join me in our responsive reading, number 648 in the back of the hymnal. And I will start reading, and then I invite you all to join me in reading the italics after every part that I read. 648. But we have only begun to love the earth. We have only begun to imagine the fullness of life.
How can we tire of hope? So much is love.
How can desire fail? We have only begun to imagine justice and mercy.
Only begun to envision how it might be to live as siblings with peace and power, not as oppressors.
Surely our river cannot already be hastening into the sea of non-being.
Surely we cannot drag into silt all that is innocent.
Not yet. Not yet. There is too much broken that must be mended.
Too much hurt that we have done to each other that cannot yet be forgiven.
We have only begun to know the power that is in us if we would join our solitudes in the communion of struggle.
So much is unfolding that must complete its gesture. So much is in love.
At this time, I'd like to invite those who wish to acknowledge joys and sorrows to come forward to light a candle to mark these celebrations and concerns.
Let us join in some moments of prayer and meditation. O God, Spirit of life, who calls us together in this sacred place, may we be open to your gifts of word, music, and spirit, that they may extend our horizons and restore our hearts. O Spirit of liberation, who draws us to freedom, be with those in Syria, in Iraq, in Yemen, in East Africa, in Russia, in Myanmar, in our own country and other places around the world who are taking risks for human liberty and human rights, that their courage may bring closer the day when all Earth's people enjoy the freedom that is their human birthright. O Spirit of peace, who heals us into wholeness, we ask that your healing grace be poured upon those who are sick or in distress, especially victims still recovering from recent natural disasters, refugees and immigrants fleeing war and want, those in our own network of family and friends who are ill, including Eliza Bartel's niece, Lindsay Kempton, and those whom we remember now in silence. Be with them as a source of hope and strengthen us as we reach out to them in presence and prayer. O God of justice, who challenges us to serve others, may we know your wisdom and power as we go about our tasks in the coming weeks, rejoicing in the strength that you give us through this experience of worship and through the love and caring we feel among members of this worshiping community. We offer all these prayers to you in a spirit of wonder and thanksgiving for the extraordinary gift of life. So may it be. Shalom. Amen. Hope is an act of imagination. It launches ourselves from this present moment into the future, imagining possibilities and outcomes that will bring us joy, satisfaction, happiness, peace. And this congregation is a crucible for our hopes. We come here with hopes for ourselves, that we may enjoy health and vitality, particularly near to my heart, that wish after this winter, that we might live a long life, that we will accomplish some of our goals and perhaps check off things from our bucket lists, that we might be loved and love others, that we might experience meaningful connection with others. Some of us come here with hopes for our children, that they will be curious and not afraid to question, even though they sometimes put us on the spot with those questions. That they will be kind, that they will be motivated to serve others, that they will be loving and open to accepting our love, that they may have the opportunity to grow and thrive, that they may inherit a world that is habitable, with clean air to breathe and clean water to drink, that they may experience meaningful connection with others. All of us come here with hopes for the world, that humankind might finally learn to resolve disputes without war and killing one another, that we might act to ensure that planet Earth continues to be a sustainable environment for life, plant, animal, human. That the basics for sustaining life, food, water, healthcare, meaningful work, might be equitably distributed. That justice, equity, compassion, peace, and liberty might prevail. That all humankind might experience their connection and interdependence with one another. It's great that we have an intergenerational jazz band in our congregation and playing at this service. Jazz values both playing with the ensemble and doing some individual improvising. It requires both paying close attention to one another and getting in touch with your own individual creativity. Jazz gives individual players a chance to shine, but also creates a dynamic group sound when everybody plays together. Jazz depends on interplay between and among musicians, movement from the individual to the whole ensemble and back again. Membership in our congregation is a little like jazz. We hope to offer opportunities for each of you to find some place to shine, some group, activity, event, practice, where you express what's in your soul and benefit from others sharing what's most meaningful to them. And then we come together each Sunday and second Friday in worship to savor the power of the whole congregation gathered, to celebrate our connection with one another and to the mystery that has brought us all into being. And also to remind ourselves of our mission, our purpose, our reason for being. Last week's sermon by Harvard Divinity School Professor Dan McCannon suggested what I thought was a great expression for our purpose as a UU congregation. Our purpose is to bless the world. And he offered some bold ideas about ways to do this. He challenged us to be the seabed for the growth of new institutional forms. He envisioned congregations not as social clubs for our parents' generation, as he put it, but laboratories for emerging democracy. He urged us to listen to the prophetic voices of the young, to support youth initiatives. And I couldn't help but think of the Florida teens, the dreamers, members of the Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. He also urged us to risk supporting institutions not necessarily of our own design, and to use resources to renew the public sphere, as we are already doing through our REACH program grants to social change organizations. Now, the previous Sunday, you yourselves offered some ideas about how you hoped the congregation would bless the world. I asked those who were here to take 5 minutes to write down what would make UUCSR the congregation of your dreams. 115 people did just that. Some were one-word answers, and some of you are budding authors and put down small novellas. I know because I transcribed all of them. I want to give you something of the flavor today and make the full range of these available for your review. You'll find on the table on your way out a handout that lists and cites all of what you wrote. Of the 115 responding, 34 individuals, or slightly under a third, identified characteristics of the congregation's internal culture that was most important to them. Acceptance of different opinions and ideas, inclusivity, welcoming and hospitality, diversity of membership, respect for one another, kindness, and love. Several articulated their desire to be accepted and valued for what they can share with the congregation, and they were eager to do so. The next largest category was gratifying for those of us who are in ministerial leadership, spiritual growth, which 18 people said was critical for their realization of their dreams. They expressed appreciation that the congregation was helping them become more self-aware and develop spiritual depth and be their best selves. Stephen will take heart that music and the arts was next with 13 mentions. There was both affirmation of the present range of programming as well as support for other art forms in addition to music. These people highly value both their own capacity for creative expression and the role that music and other arts play in sustaining this faith community. 12 people mentioned natural environment and the grounds, which included a number of creative suggestions for new uses of the property: a meditation walk, farming, woodlands management, a water park, and ski lifts. And people who drew connections between care of our own property and our larger concern for the natural environment and, in fact, the fate of planet Earth. 11 people named friendship. Their personal interest ranged from appreciating the opportunities for forging friendships with people who share their values to a desire for even greater friendliness among congregants. And there was at least one testimony to a relationship that had been formed and anchored in this congregation. This aspect of UUCSR is profoundly important as a way of enhancing individuals' quality of life. Social justice was the main focus for 9 people and was mentioned by many others as well. People expressed appreciation for the service opportunities available and suggested specific areas for new congregational focus: banning assault rifles, family-oriented activism, deeper commitment to environmental protection, racial justice, and hands-on programming for the homeless and the hungry in our community. 8 people cited religious education, ranging from interests and a focus on the environment, world religions, and social justice, to a desire, actually, to see a Unitarian Universalist school on this site. A ministry of teaching and learning is crucial to these people. Another 8 people mentioned Sunday services and preaching, lifting up particularly how services and sermons inspire and renew them in their daily lives. Other categories that people named were caring community, suggesting new areas of focus: abused women, caregivers, victims of natural disasters, seniors. Affirming what already exists, citing a range of programs that meet their needs very well. The suggestions for change were varied, ranging from please get rid of poison ivy on the trail to work more closely with local congregations. Membership, expressing a desire for greater diversity, more Hispanics, atheists, people from Queens. I'm just telling you what I read. Philanthropy, supporting long-term social change, raising questions about how we as a congregation value philanthropies compared to the other aspects of our mission. Public witness, observing that our mission needs to include both speaking out about value-related issues that matter to us and walking our talk by working with other congregations, both UU and non-UU. Financial resources, posing significant questions about priorities and long-term strategy with regard to the congregation's assets. Hadley House, expressing gratitude and hope that other churches might develop such facilities. I conclude with two of my favorites, which I had to classify miscellaneous thoughts because I had no clue how to categorize them. Think outside the box was the first, and guess I have to get off my butt and come more often and get involved was the second. The Congregation of Your Dreams exercise is not exactly a scientific survey of the congregation, but it does offer, I think, some window into the diverse and vivid dreams and hopes and aspirations of at least 115 of you to assess your relationship with UUCSR. Your dreams represent lots of different priorities, at least 14 categories worth, of the things that you value highly. If I were to try to characterize most of them in a single sentence, I would say that many in this congregation dream of creating a loving, safe, and supportive community that deepens the spirit, touches the soul through the arts, celebrates the wonders of nature, fosters friendships, encourages shared work for justice, and expands the mind. This offers us a starting place for further conversation about our hopes for the congregation, and lucky for us, we're entering into a couple of months when we'll have lots of opportunities for such conversations. One-on-one meetings, town halls, small groups. As you know, we face a number of important decisions for our future as a congregation. Deciding what we'll fund and what we won't in next year's budget. Deciding to renew membership for another year that begins July 1. Deciding how much to pledge in support of the programs of the congregation in that new congregational fiscal year. Deciding what kind of dynamic minister to call to lead this congregation into an unknown but hope-filled future. It's important that each of you take part in these discussions and these decisions. It's important that each of you participate in gatherings to find out what's at stake and to voice your dreams and your hopes. Please watch for announcements in the Quest and elsewhere of town halls on the budget sponsored by the Finance Committee, town halls on the ministerial leadership transition sponsored by the Board of Trustees. Spring is the season when we consider renewing our membership in this congregation. And we know from the Dream Card exercise how important belonging to this congregation is to so many of you for a host of different reasons. There are so many benefits of belonging, but there are, of course, also responsibilities. Responsibilities of sharing time, talent, and treasure. We have a rich and varied array of opportunities for sharing your time and talent, and you'll get a tangible way to consider those opportunities at today's committee fair in the social hall during UU Cafe. Committees have set up tables and committee members are present, hoping that you will stop by to learn more about what it is that they do and why it is that they make this commitment to this activity in the congregation and how you might join and support their work by lending your time and talent. So I have a question for you. What will be happening tonight in Los Angeles? Okay, that was a little dim. A little louder? Yeah, Oscars. Right. So in honor of the Academy Awards, I want to offer you a preview of coming attractions here at UUCSR. Each spring, we launch a pledge campaign to ask members to renew their membership and pledge support. At a meeting last month, members of the Financial Development Committee, chaired by Mary Lou Nolan Kruger, gave the go-ahead for an ambitious pledge program for fiscal 19. And here I must pause to say, fiscal year 19 begins July 1, 2018, and the year runs from July 1 to June 30. We are currently in fiscal year 18, which ends July 30th, 2018. June 30th, thank you. June 30th, 20th. I just wanted to make sure that you were still paying attention. This is a source of huge amount of confusion with regard to our pledge campaign and our congregational year. So what we are doing with the pledge campaign this year in the spring is to make a promise and commitments for what we are going to do to support the congregation beginning July 1 of 18 through June 30, 19. And we call that fiscal year 19. The year is named by the year when it ends. So, having established that, our theme is realizing our hopes and dreams. Realizing our hopes and dreams. And we'll have lots of opportunities to articulate more about that. Brian Mullers, who is in the fourth pew, gesticulate wildly, has graciously agreed to serve as campaign leader. I think we could give him a round of applause for that. Yes. We are in the process of recruiting at least 75 volunteers who will have face-to-face meetings with fellow members to learn about their hopes for themselves and the congregation and to secure a pledge for fiscal 19. We'll launch the pledge campaign later this month, and face-to-face conversations will take place in April. We plan to have reached out to every member of the congregation by May as much as we can, prepare a report that will help congregational leaders chart our future. At UUCSR, we have a critical mission in and to the world, to develop and bring forward our best selves, to nurture the young in curiosity and kindness, to confront and blunt injustice and violence, to champion possibility in the face of despair, to proclaim and celebrate connection and interdependence, to bear witness to the power of love and compassion. May our love for one another and our commitment to make our hopes and dreams real inspire and sustain us in this busy but productive month, so that we may indeed be a faith community that blesses the world. So may it be. Shalom. Blessed be. Insha'Allah. Aho. Shanti. Amen. Our closing hymn is number 344 in the gray hymnal, 344, A Promise Through the Ages Reigns. And I invite you, as you are able, to stand as we sing this together.
I believe in a new world. I do, yes I do. And I live in this trust that although everything I see may turn to dust, we are moving inexorably toward a new world.